Hi folks, welcome to our March 2013 newsletter. I got a couple things I want to go over today. First, I want to share a couple tips, and then I'm going to go into a couple techniques, something I think will help you guys with Carve and freehand routing straight lines. So first, come across something a while back. I don't know if you're familiar with these. Jewelers use them, and they're pretty handy to have. We use them when we're grinding our router bits, trying to regrind them or whatever when we need to see real close in on something. This is something we just got at Harbor Freight. I think Dad's zooming in on the item number right now as we speak. And they work really well. I wasn't sure that I was going to like them, but once I started using them for grinding router bits and stuff, then I thought, well, you know what, since my eyes seem to be getting a little bit worse than what they used to be, I wear readers when I carve normally, but I decided to go ahead and give these a try for actually carving signs. And since I've done that, my lines seem straighter, my details seem better, and I tend to be somewhat of a perfectionist when it comes to my artwork and my lines and stuff. So, in fact, I'm going to use these. I'm going to put these on in a minute and use them when I'm carving those lines, and you'll get an idea. So that's the first tip. So pick up a set of that if you, what, Dad? You're looking at me, what?
Well, did you want to show them what's inside the box? And they got different lenses?
Yeah, it actually, and I thank you for reminding me, it actually has a box of different lenses. I'm using, I don't know, Coke bottle size. I don't know, but there's got 3 or 4 different lenses in there that you can use just depending on your eyesight. Got that, Dad? Okay, all right, so we'll move on. So that's the first thing, and you'll see me use that in just a minute when I get into routing these straight lines. The second thing I was talking to Chuck Smith this morning on the phone, and he had sent some router bits back to us to have us touch them up and regrind them. And they looked brand new. I mean, literally, they came out of the package and they looked brand new. So I called him. I said, Chuck, these, I haven't tested them, but these things look brand new. And he said, well, I decided to clean them up before I sent them back to you. So, and I'd never done that before. So I said, well, how'd you do that? He soaks them in white vinegar for a little while, I don't know, half hour, 15 minutes, whatever it takes. And then he kind of just brushes them off with an old toothbrush and then wipes them clean, and they look like they were brand new. Now they didn't, one of them actually cut like it was brand new. The 60 degree that he sent cut like it was brand new. I didn't even have to touch it. It's still cut. So it's possible, and he said they all kind of drug a little bit. So if you have router bits, especially the ones that you get from us, and they're starting to act like they're dull and stuff, try that cleaning thing first and then test them out before you send them in to get them reground, because it could be that there's just residue behind that edge, and you might be able to just take that off and carve another 15, 20, 30 signs. It'll save you having to regrind it before it's necessary.
So that's just white vinegar?
Just white vinegar. That's what Chuck told me. Just white vinegar. Let it set for a while and then take it out and use an old toothbrush and brush them off and then wipe it off and give them a shot, see if they cut any better. So I thought it was a great tip. I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so that's that. Now, you guys, I don't know if you guys are like me, but the toughest thing to carve for me is a long straight line. That is the hardest thing that I've ever carved. Arches and all that kind of stuff is not that bad. But long straight lines, like for instance, like on our Live to Ride sign. The toughest part of carving this sign for me, again, this is just me talking, you might be different, but are these long straight lines here and trying to get those to where they look good, especially down here where you got no real margin for error. It's not like you can, not like in here, whereas if you're not on the line, you can come back and catch it again. Here, you've got pretty much no margin for error. So long straight lines for me are the most difficult. Let me show you what I've discovered that might help you in carving those long straight lines a little bit better. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we've got a couple routers here. I'm going to change bases. Here's another little thing, by the way. I don't know if you can get in on this, Dad. This is a Porter Cable 450. This is a DeWalt DWP 611, excuse me. If you'll notice, all you got to do, these router bases are interchangeable. These routers are pretty much the same. So this is the DWP 611 by DeWalt, and this is the Porter Cable 450. I love these routers. You guys know that. I talk about them all the time. Anyway, they're by far my favorite routers. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to show you that. I wanted to show you how easy it is to show that the bases are interchangeable. So let me put this base on here. And what I'm going to do here, let me put on my goggles I just talked about. Now don't get shocked, people. Sometimes when I take off my hat, it really shocks people. But that's me. So anyway, so these are my goggles. I'm going to put them on. And they're already kind of adjusted to my head. So what I'm going to do, and this is, I've just got a couple scrap pieces here. This is something that I do quite a bit, is I like the idea of notching corners on rectangle signs. Just kind of imagine this is a 6x24 sign, and I notch these corners. Now how I do that is what do we do with that thing, Dad? I do that with a hole saw. So actually it's in the drill press, right over there in the drill press, Dad. Thank you. So I just do that with I think it's about a 3-inch hole saw, and we put it in the drill press and do it that way. But you could do it with a hand drill. It's just clamp it down. It's a little bit more difficult than when you put it in the drill press. But it makes a nice little notched corner on your boards. Got that, Dad? Thank you. My stage hand there. Anyway, so
I get more money being a cameraman.
I know. Okay, so that just makes a nice little notch. So it's adjustable. You can do it however you want, but it actually makes a nice little notch. Now, what I want to do here is I want to show you basically how, if I'm going to do outset letters on here, or if I just want a line to put in here. Imagine that we've got some outset letters going on in here, and we want just a border around this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to say, that's about what I want for a border. You getting that all right, Dad?
Yeah.
Is that a yes? Okay, there you go. All right, so now
tell them how you're using your finger to guide that.
I'm just using my finger on the edge of the board and drawing down. That's how I'm getting that line like that. Now that is going to come into play when I use my router here in a second, because I'm going to use my router the same way. So I'm going to fire up my router here, set my depth, get it to where it looks about right. Are you ready there, Dad?
I'm ready, son.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my router. You'll see how I do this. I'm going to let my fingers ride right on the edge of that board, just like I was drawing that line, but I'm going to have it kind of clamped on, holding on to the router at the same time.
Boy, you sure make that look easy. How'd you learn that?
I learned from some old guy. But that's basically it, guys. It takes a little doing, but you now know why I like these little routers as much as I do, because it really makes it. Now, if I was using a big, huge router, it would be a lot tougher to do that. But these little routers are so nice that you can move them and you can manipulate them so much better than you can a big router. At least that's my take. That's just me. You guys use what you want to use. I know some of you like the big, heavy routers. Me, I love these little routers, and this is one of the big advantages of having a little router. So that's how a good way that you can get a nice border on that, you can just imagine that being a 6x24 or whatever. And whether I'm using a 12x24 or whatever, you can do that. Now, if it's just square, you can do it that way too, obviously. And then what I would do is that would be all outset letters, and then I'd take all that out, that background away, which you've seen me do before. Okay, so that's one. Now I want to switch bases real quick. And I want to go, I've got this router set up with a profile bit. And I want to show you kind of a little technique that I use on that live to ride sign to where your straight lines may be this way, but it's way inside, so you can't quite reach like that. Am I moving too fast for you, Dad?
No.
Okay there? Okay.
No, fine.
So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to carve this line here. Stinking cord. I'm going to carve, let's say I'm going to carve on this side. I'm going to carve on this side of this line like this was an outset long strip, okay? I'm going to do the same thing. No, I'm not going to do that, actually. What I'm going to do is now, instead of writing on the edge of the board, I'm actually going to put pressure on, let me set this depth here. Let me get this bit so I can guide this bit here. What I'm going to do is I've got extra board over here. I'm actually going to make contact with my router base and the board at the same time. And as I pull that, that is going to help me hold that line as I'm coming down. Can you get that, Dad?
Yeah.
Do you get that all right? So that's what I want to do. So it kind of gives you just a little bit of way to hold that router in a straight line. Hopefully we don't have a board that's got a lot of squirrely grain in it. I think it's going to carve all right. My bit is kind of sharp. So anyway, I'll show you. Hopefully this will come out. Here we go.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
that tag on the cord.
Dadgummit.
was-
Good point. Let me turn that router around, Dad. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, most of it showed, but as you went down, that thing just pulled in where the tag was directly over the cutter.
Let me see. Well, I don't think that's really gonna. Oh, you know what? I'll just turn the router around. That's good. So let me just turn the router around, and I'll do that again, and hopefully you'll get. What I'll do here is, let me see if I got space there. I think I'm better off on this one. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing on this line. I'm going to carve to the outside on this side, so this could be a long straight strip. Okay, you ready for me, Dad?
Go.
Here we go. Get that?
Got it.
Excellent. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much. Now that you know, the thing is that it isn't absolutely perfect. But once that's sprayed and sanded off, it's going to be a pretty straight line. Now, there are jigs out there. There are all kinds of different things to help you do what I'm doing. What I used to do, before I kind of discovered this, I literally used to clamp a straight edge down because I was so anal about having straight lines. I would literally clamp something down and let the router base slide on it. Well, finally I found a way to do it, and it's much faster, and with a little bit of practice, you guys, you can do this, especially if you're carving nice soft material like this cedar that I like. If you're carving something hard and really squirrely, it might be a little bit more difficult. You want to use a straight edge or some kind of jig. But if you've got nice, dry, soft material, you should be able to cut lines like this. So this is just a little bit of tip for you. It really has worked out well for me. I've had, not to hurt myself patting myself on the back, but I've had sign carvers look at my straight lines and think they're CNC machine carved, and that's a pretty nice compliment from other sign carvers. So anyway, that's what I wanted to pass on to you. I think we're going to go ahead and shut this down. We're going to make another video right away, and we've got kind of some exciting news for you guys. So stay tuned, and we're going to go ahead and post this, and then we're going to get another one posted right away. We'll see you down the road, boys.